Thank you for joining us on Coffee Break, brought to you by the Middle Alabama Area Agency on Aging, or M4A. M4A is a part of a network of 13 area agencies on aging that cover all 67 counties across the state. We are located in Alabaster, and we cover Blount, Chilton, Shelby, St. Clair, and Walker counties. We would love to find out how we can help your family today. For previous episodes of Coffee Break, feel free to check out our YouTube channel. Sounds good. All right, so we are live in our webinar. We're doing this on our Facebook channel, of course, and then of course we're here in Zoom. So having a little bit of technical difficulties, but just like all of 2020 and how 2021's been going so far, we just make adjustments the best we can. So we want to welcome everybody in. Looks like we've had a few more people join us since we kicked off a while ago. But we did want to welcome everybody to Coffee Break. This is our brief moment of respite for caregivers initiative that we've had going since the pandemic really kicked off last year. Specifically, this is session number 22. This is our May session and is for stroke awareness. And of course, we're acknowledging Older Americans Month. And so just want to go ahead and kick it off. We've got, again, this is an in-house program that we have offered by the Middle Alabama Area Agency on Aging, specifically with two in-house programs, which is our PANDA project and our Alabama Cares Caregiver Support Program. So today's speakers, we've got Adam Moore, who's a firefighter and community paramedic with the Pelham Fire Department, as well as Miss Stacy Payton, who I have on the phone, who's the Senior Center Director for the Alabaster Senior Center here, of course, in Alabaster, Alabama. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it on over to you, Adam, and I'll let you kick things off for us.
Well, I'm glad you started with the least, so everyone will look better. My name is Adam Moore. As Jeremy said, I am a firefighter and paramedic for the city of Pelham. I'm also one of the 3 community paramedics in the city. It's kind of a program we started with M4A to help seniors and others in our community stay in their homes and get the things and resources that they need. I've been asked today to talk about strokes since this month is National Stroke Month and Awareness. So normally, I could come up here and give you a nice long presentation that's all, technical terms and stuff like that, but it's not really how I operate, and no one really wants to hear a 30-minute lecture on strokes. So I'll try to make it as fun, as interesting as I can, but no guarantee. All right. So everyone has heard of strokes. Everyone has seen them on medical dramas, have, seen them around, hopefully not experienced them at a personal level. But most strokes are defined as an ischemic or hemorrhagic lesion into the portion of the brain, resulting in damage or destruction of the brain. Now, what that means is that in the grand scheme of things, it means that blood flow has stopped, or blood flow is not sufficient enough to nourish your brain. In your brain, there's all the blood vessels and everything. Just think of them as a whole mess of garden hoses with blood pulsing through them that then gives nutrients to your brain, takes away waste, and helps nourish, keep your brain healthy, active, and using. A stroke is when something happens to the veins or the garden hose, whether a clot comes up and occludes it or stops it, and you have a backup of blood in the vein, or a hemorrhagic where there's a burst in the vein or garden hose and blood cannot make it beyond that burst. Both of those are considered strokes. It's just, what type do you have? Do you have an occlusive with a clot, or a hemorrhagic with a burst in the vein? Now, in our world, it doesn't matter. In the EMS world, in the layman world, it doesn't matter. A stroke is a stroke is a stroke until they get into the hospital where they can check and see what type it is. So the main thing we want to remember in recognizing strokes is that time loss equals brain loss. Now, what that means is the longer strokes go unrecognized, untreated, the more damage you have to your brain. So the biggest thing I want everyone to understand is the quicker you call 911 and recognize what's going on, the better the chances are for your loved one. So, like I said, thanks to most medical dramas, the signs and symptoms of strokes are very recognizable. Everyone knows the classic signs: the one-sided face droop, the one-sided paralysis, the uneven movement, or the gait of the walking. But there are some other less common symptoms. Headache. You are having something going on with your brain. A headache is pretty normal with a stroke, but not always. Confusion, agitation. Remember, we're dealing with the brain and something's going on. So your brain is just this big mass of neurons trying to make sure that everything works well. So if there's a little bit something going on in the back or the front or the sides, you're going to see probably some confusion, some agitation, some just, I don't know what's going on. You also have difficulty speaking or using incorrect words. That's a large sign of a stroke. So if your loved one or your patient is simply the best way I can describe this is, we had a patient that would hold up a pen. We held up a pen. What is this? They'd called a cat. And we kind of stopped and we looked at the caregiver that was with them. It's like, is this normal? No, they normally tell us that that's a pen, that's a cat. And so a bunch of firefighters, because we're idiots, held up a cat. We had to catch it. And they, what is this? He was able to tell us that the cat was a cat, but the pen was also a cat. That's a sign of a stroke. And I think we ended up transporting him, and the caregiver ended up calling to tell us that he had had a stroke the night before. And that was really the only sign and symptom that he was giving. You also have vision problems that you can recognize in a stroke. So if your loved one is having one-eye blindness, double vision, that's not normal. That's the key point. Then it could be potentially stroke. You also have numbness and tinglings in the hands and feet. It's normally presented as one-sided, but it could be both sides. It could be one side. It could be just one hand. It could be just one foot. And another one that's kind of new in what we look for is the inability to recognize by touch. And this one is very interesting. I haven't run across this one yet in the field, but as it was explained to me, if you were to hand somebody a baseball and tell them, what does this feel like? And they were to tell you a pin or a cat, as we previously mentioned. But if you're holding a baseball, the inability to feel by touch is something that's kind of new. I haven't experienced, but it's something to look towards. All right. There also are other things out there called TIAs, or a transient ischemic attack. These are best described as temporary strokes, or pseudostrokes, as some people call them. This is when the blockage or bleed moves on or corrects itself. Now, for our purposes here, treat everything like a true stroke, because there's no way to tell without going to the hospital. And remember that time loss equals brain loss. So the longer you delay, either A, recognizing the signs and symptoms of a stroke, or B, calling the fire department or the EMS system, the worse off it could potentially be down the road. All right, so we're going to go into recognizing strokes at home. And this is very, very simple. There are 4 things that anybody out there can do. The first one is a facial droop test. Have your partner or spouse smile and show you their teeth. You want them to smile like a big Cheshire cat. If one side of their mouth is lower or unable to smile, that's considered a positive test. Another one is the arm drift test. Have your spouse or partner close their eyes, put their arms out fully, and then close their eyes and put their arms out fully. If one arm moves up or down, then it's considered a positive test. Another one is abnormal speech. You could simply have your partner or spouse say, "You can't teach a dog new tricks," or any similar phrase we use, or any similar phrase. We normally make them say the Cincinnati stroke scale, because it's difficult. It's very difficult to say if something's going on. If your spouse or partner is not able to say it or slurring their speech and it's not normal, it's considered a positive test. And we kind of touched on this earlier, but if your spouse or partner is asking for things that don't make sense or nonsense word, back to the pen and the cat example, I also had someone that was asking for a doorknob, but he was wanting a glass of water. That's kind of an example of a doesn't make sense phrase or a nonsense word. Or we had a gentleman that had a stroke, and the only thing he could say was, how did he pronounce it? It was kind of like a bye. That was all he could say, was a bye. And that was just his word that he said. And the fourth is just something's not right. This one is entirely caregiver focused. As a caregiver or spouse or partner, you're with the patient, what I will call as the patient, more than I will ever be, or anybody in the EMS, in the hospital will ever be with your family member. So when something's not right. If there is something that's just off, like your spouse or partner is just not making sense, they're stumbling a little more than they normally do, or you kind of look at them and just, as my grandmother used to say, something just ain't right. It is okay to call 911 if you're scared about this. It is okay. Because we would much rather get there and find that everything is okay, that nothing's going on, than for you to be worried about calling 911 for something that's not really an emergency. Let me say that again. It is okay to call 911 if you're unsure about something like this, because we can get there, we can do more tests, we can talk with the patient, talk with your spouse or partner, talk with you, try to find out what's going on, and then make a better decision on what we can do. Whether it is, something's not right with Mr. Smith, we probably need to go to the hospital to get checked out, or I think Mr. Smith is okay, he can stay here, but it's up to you. So all that to say, if your spouse or partner is positive to one of these 4 tests, call 911 immediately. And the 4 tests are the facial droop test, the arm drift test, the abnormal speech, and the something's just not right. Now, as a layperson or as someone who doesn't have any medical training, the best thing you can do for your spouse or partner besides calling 911, so while you're waiting for us to get there, the best thing to do is to try to protect their airway or make them comfortable. Make them communicate, whether it's just by looking at you or make them talk to you, just keep them engaged so that 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 they're still talking, they're still able to communicate, they're not going unconscious. There's not something else there. So when the first responders do get there, myself included, one of the very first questions we're going to ask is, what's going on? And then tell them, hey, I just talked to my husband or wife 5 minutes ago and they were fine, and now his face is kind of drooping, or he says his left arm is numb. His left arm and left leg are numb. They don't work right. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me again. And you also, and then probably the next question we'll ask is, when did this start? The reason why we ask that, because like we talked about earlier, time loss is brain loss. So if you can be as specific as possible, down to the minute, if possible, we understand that, something out of your norm is going on. So time may, you may not care, and that's okay. But the more accurate time we have, the more we can tell the hospital we're on the way. And we can say, Mr. Smith started showing these signs about 30 minutes ago or 28 minutes ago. Because at the hospital, they have certain treatments that they can do, but only within certain amounts of time. Another thing you want to tell the EMS, the firefighters, the paramedics, is has your spouse or loved one had any previous history of stroke or TIA? And probably you will know this because there's a chance that the fire department has taken them to the hospital before for the same thing. Another thing we'll ask is, on the previous history, we will always know, probably 9 times out of 10, we will ask if they have any type of atrial fib. Because atrial fib is something or atrial fib or atrial fibrillation or AFib is something that's very common that leads to strokes. We will also ask if they take any medications daily and if they have any allergies. This is important for a little down the way because some medications, they contradict other medications, allergies. Some medications are built off of other medications and some have allergies to them. And then we'll normally ask any other medical history we need to know about, such as heart disease, COPD, diabetes, anything like that. The bigger and the better picture we can paint with the medications, with the allergies, with the history, with the other medical problems, the better we can set up your spouse or loved one for success once they get to the hospital. And then besides that, we will normally ask, what hospital do you want to go to? Some hospitals in the area have specific stroke protocols. So if you say, I want to go to hospital A, and all of us go, this is kind of difficult, let's go to hospital B. Hospital B is where we want to go. It's not that we're discounting what you say, because we do listen, and normally we would love to send you to the exact hospital you want to go to. But hospital B may have a much better stroke protocol program and be able to do many things that hospital A can't. So please understand, we're not trying to be pushy or, hey, this is where you need to go no matter what. It's what we want to do for the best thing for your spouse or loved one.
Okay. Thank you so much for having me. And like you said, I'm the manager of the Alabaster Senior Center. And I've worked with seniors for over 25 years, but I was in community settings before coming here to the Senior Center in November of 2019. And I was fortunate to join a terrific team. Everyone was so welcoming, staff and seniors. And I really didn't realize what an active senior center, what it was, or all about the senior center. So it was very nice. And it's just been a very exciting experience until COVID hit. But so now we have over 1,000 members. I know all senior centers are different, but all senior centers are special in their own way. But there's benefits for every different individual, and we offer a wide variety of programs. Everybody can find something they're interested in. If not, we're always open to new ideas. And to be a member here, you have to be age 55 or older, live in Alabaster or Shelby County, fill out necessary paperwork, there's not a charge to be a senior center member here. There are some fees associated with trips, programs, and other activities. And we have to update your yearly paperwork. So we exercise is a big thing here, and we have yoga 2 times a week. We have an arthritis class. We have a moving and grooving class, and we have a lot of people that come to play games like all day long. They'll be playing bridge, rook, mahjong, rummy cube, Mexican train dominoes, skip bow, you name it, we play it. We also offer day trips, lunch outings, and overnight trips. And we have singing groups, watercolor classes, line dancing classes, penny auctions, bingo, entertainment, book clubs, TikTok, knitting and crocheting. So we offer a lot. Everybody likes to stay busy, and some people just come just to stay and socialize for the day without even going playing games. They just like to sit and talk, sit outside, and just have like a companion and just enjoy their time and not being alone. So, and then we have our nutrition program, and the seniors can either eat here at the center, or it can be delivered Meals on Wheels for the homebound. So we have some lovely drivers and volunteers. I did have a picture of one of our volunteers. We try to give them little goodies every once in a while. Next, I just have a sample of our May calendar, some of the things that go on. In June, it'll be different since we will be opening. But I just wanted to give a little sample. We try to make a variety. And then next, we also, like, everybody loves music. We have a singing group that meets. They've been meeting outside, but they'll be able to meet inside next week, which will be nice because it's kind of hot. So that's just like a choir. They're called Timeless Treasures, and the others pictures are bands that we've had here. And some of them are members that just volunteer just to come and play, and everybody sings along. So that's really nice. And then we also offer creative classes, a card making class, and actually one of our members teaches that. So they usually a little over an hour, and there is a charge for that, but they get to go home with 5 cards they can send to their loved ones, and then just a variety of craft classes. And next, we have a lot of volunteer opportunities that we've enjoyed, especially since the pandemic. We've been working with Shelby Humane. We've made dog toys a few times. The picture's up in the right-hand corner. We made over 100 dog chew toys and over 200, I believe. A lot, you can tell in the picture. And then cat toys. And we had a adoption day here. So we did have 2 dogs that were adopted. So that was nice, and it gives people something to do and just like give back. And we also had a food drive with Shelby Assistance. And then next, we have gardening classes, and everybody loves getting their hands in the dirt. You can see the middle picture. So that's been nice, been able to do a little gardening. And then during the pandemic, we have been hard to do, well, we've had to adjust. So we've had a lot of drive-through events and a lot of local assisted livings and hospice companies and churches. They have provided different like watermelon. Somebody brought watermelon, you can sit in the middle, and people would drive through. And if it was nice, people would sit out under the pavilion, being socially distant. So we love our sponsors. So that's been very nice. And the next slide is just kind of, these were taken before the pandemic, but it just kind of shows you it's like a typical day here, because you have the rook players, you have the mahjong players, bridge, Mexican dominoes, rummy cube, and then we have people that just work together on puzzles, which is nice. Oh, and skip both. So usually it's like a full house, and everybody's just enjoying one another's company. And some people stay all day. Some people just come for a few hours. Some people, whatever they want to do. We just love having people here. And then we also, I know a lot of people knit and crochet, and a lot of individuals have picked it back up since the pandemic, because I hear people talking. So that's another group that we have, and even though they weren't meeting here, unless it was nice and they could meet outside, they've made over 30 twiddle muffs, which are it's the picture on the left, and it's, you put your hands in there, and there's like buttons, and you can twiddle. It gives your hands something to do. But that was for Alzheimer's of Central Alabama. And then we donated to homeless shelters in Birmingham and Shelby Ridge, Oaks on Parkwood, and a lot of other assisted livings and nursing homes in the area. So that gave some of our members a good feeling to give back. So, and they taught me how to crochet. So they're a good group. And if you want to learn how to crochet, I know there's somebody in every senior center that knows how to, but it's been a neat time with them. They've made so many, and they're already working on the Alzheimer's scarves for next year. So very good. Okay, and the next picture, this are the arthritis and more class. This is pre-pandemic. That's just a group of them exercising on the left, and then we were able to offer yoga outside under our wonderful pavilion. And then our moving and grooving, like dance class, is on the bottom. So I really believe that senior centers are very, very important, and especially now with everybody. I mean, you just hear stories of just people being so lonely, and senior centers offer so much. Meals, programs, socialization, it's good for your mental health, physical programs, volunteer, transportation, and information and assistance. People, you can call the senior center. We'll help. If anybody calls, they need something, we're on it. So, and then the last page, that's the picture of our staff, and our address and hours of operation, which are 8 to 3:30. I know different senior centers have different hours. They're pretty much the same. I know it might be a little different now, but that's our hours. And thank you.
That's all.
Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, if you have any questions, I don't know, Crystal, I don't know if you see any. I don't think we have any on our Facebook. And of course, these are both Adam and Miss Stacy. These are both really important topics. When you're talking about stroke awareness, just general heart health, obviously one way to combat that and to make sure you're, both emotionally and physically in great health is getting involved. And like Miss Stacy was saying, all of these events that they host at the Alabaster Senior Center. Now, I will have a disclaimer and say that the Alabaster Senior Center Yeah, they're a bunch of superheroes, and with the size center they have, with the participation they have a really great outfit and organization going on. Not every senior center may have quite as many of the activities that they provide, but there's something similar, whether that be card games to just general socialization to just peer support that you have within the community. There are many homes that might not get food daily, and just having that availability to have at least one hot meal a day, that can be a humongous difference maker for many people. Miss Stacy, and if you have any questions, feel free to drop those in our Q&A and chat box. I did have a couple of questions, which I think you kind of touched on it a little bit. I mean, as far as volunteers, is that something really across the board? Is that something that's always needed as far as volunteers? And how do you apply for something like that? Is that where, obviously you would need to become a member first, or do you have to be a member in order to be a volunteer?
You would just need to, you do not have to, you would just come in and fill out paperwork and, just a simple little process. And if anybody, the main volunteers right now are drivers who deliver the meals. Right now we are good on that, but that's not saying we might have an opening or we need a backup. So if anybody's interested in volunteering, and then also when we open up, we have people that just volunteer in the kitchen. So they help out the nutrition coordinator.
So on the flip side of that, like say I couldn't volunteer, but I was interested in either helping financially or even, like, I know that there are several organizations, and I know that we've partnered, and it might be a good partnership between our organizations as well. But I know that there's been plenty of opportunities where like we've partnered with organizations to do similar to the wrist fidget things that you had there. We do fidget quilts, so kind of a similar style, but this is more of a lap quilt. And what that is that helps in situations where if you have someone who may have, a cognitive impairment or, dementia or something related, that helps. If there's someone who might, they may fidget a lot, that helps to kind of spark the brain to do different activities, or kind of take the load off of them, focusing on something that may be stressing them out or whatever the case may be. But those are tremendously impactful on the health and safety of not only the individual that's using it, but also it helps the caregiver in those difficult situations. And, you see, just as an example of one senior center, you may go to that senior center for yourself, but you end up making an impact in someone else's life who might not even be in that community or not a member of the senior center. So that's just another way, another benefit of it is that you're giving back to your community by really just helping yourself by going to a senior center and kind of getting involved for your own health and safety. So in that particular situation, Ms. Stacy, if someone wanted to donate supplies, say buttons or ribbons or whatever it may be, to kind of help, like in that situation, is that something that you guys take as well?
Yes, we do.
That's great.
So if anybody, yes, they just, we've had a lot of people donate, and we would just have them call and let us know what they have, and if we are in need of it, we just set up a time for them to come by. And for things, usually, I mean, we have a lot of people who donate, which is very nice. That's great. And we're always thankful for that. So if anybody would like to donate, that'd be great.
That is great to hear. I know similar to the Alabaster Senior Center, there's also other regionally larger senior centers as well. Like I know Adam working with the Pelham Community Fire and Paramedic program. So if you're not familiar with what that is, Adam he's a firefighter by nature, but they've also in the city of Pelham specifically, they've created a community paramedic program. And now Adam kind of goes out and helps individuals that are living within the community of Pelham to, like, if there's any extra resources they might need, he kind of goes in as a case management, I guess, in a sense, to kind of help them bring those resources in. And one of those things could be something like a fidget quilt or resources like the senior center, even in the Pelham area. So I guess the best way to describe the senior center is really community. it ties back people to the community to kind of help. But like I said, they're also going there for their own benefit to kind of get that peer-to-peer support, try to prevent isolation, burnout. It's especially important for caregivers. We were talking just before we went on, Miss Stacy and I, about the importance of a caregiver kind of recharging their batteries and having that moment away, or even if if you've got a loved one that you're caring for that you think might be a good candidate for the senior center as well, that interaction between, with other individuals, that might be something good to consider to not only help their health and safety, but to also recharge the batteries for yourself to be a better caregiver. So might be something worth considering. And if you're more comfortable with different accommodations, whether that be indoors or outdoors, or even virtual programs, I'm sure that many of the senior centers can probably accommodate or try to help you the best that they can. So, and I know that it really just depends on the senior center, but oftentimes there's a option to have transportation if you can't get to the senior center. So that might be available in your area. So I know, like for us in particular, we cover 5 counties. So for those that might be listening, say from Walker County, this might not apply to you as much specifically with the Alabaster Senior Center, but there may be one in Jasper or one in Cordova that could help in your situation. So we always recommend just reaching out, because across the board, the senior centers offer really the same. There may be some grassroots and different programs that one may not offer over the other. There's always going to be that peer-to-peer network, that meal opportunity there at the senior center, as well as just the social, not try and prevent that social isolation, to try to kind of build up the support network that you have, and not only for yourself, but you're offering it to somebody else. So that's always good to keep in mind as well. So we do want to acknowledge, again, we're acknowledging in the month of May, we're kind of wrapping up May here, but for the month of May, it is Stroke Awareness as well as Older Americans Month. One thing that we're all kind of bummed about with our staff at M4A is that we always participate in a picnic each year during May for each of our counties. And of course, with this year and last year, we've not had that opportunity. Hopefully next year we'll be able to kick that back off, but that's always a fun time to kind of help have a day of fun, dancing, music, food, and everything in between. So we hope to get back to that next year, but unfortunately we're not going to be able to do it this year as well. So thank you to both of our speakers. You guys are more than welcome if you want to stay on. We've had some good entertaining information on stroke awareness and as well as with the Older Americans Month through Senior Center. But we're going to move on now to kind of just a quick overview of what M4A is and who we are, what we do, where we're located, for those that maybe you're not familiar with the aging network in Alabama, as well as specifically who M4A is. So we're going to go ahead and move on. So, of course, we are M4A, or the Middle Alabama Area Agency on Aging, which is easier to say M4A. And we are a part of a network of 13 area agencies on aging across the state of Alabama. You see there on your screen, we operate in all 67 counties from top to bottom. And really, an area agency on aging will cover really every town across America. Every state has area agencies on aging, but it may differ a little bit from state to state, specifically what programs might be offered. So our mission specifically for the Aging Network, for M4A rather, is to empower individuals, people living with disabilities, and their caregivers to self-advocate, as well as live independently and safely in the communities of their choice. Our tagline here in-house is that we assist all ages at all stages. The counties that we cover include Blount, Chilton, St. Clair, Shelby, and Walker County, and we do provide assistance in Jefferson County for our senior employment program. So the way it works for our agency is once you call, if you're calling on behalf of yourself or someone else and you're calling for the first time, the way that generally looks is you will be appointed by one of our staff members through our ADRC program, which is our Aging and Disability Resource Center. They will contact you directly to kind of follow up to do what we call as a full benefit screening, to see what services you might be eligible as well as in need of, or even some that you might not think that you're in need of. They might be able to help coach you kind of in that direction to see what services they might be able to assist. Now, if you're in our region, say you live in, we'll say Alabaster, and you have you moved from Montgomery, so you've got a 334 number. If you're not really sure with where your area agency on aging is, you can always call our toll-free number, statewide toll-free number at 1-800-AGE-LINE, and they will get you connected to the correct area agency on aging for your area. Or you can simply, that's really the good old fashioned way, is calling in or coming in, visiting in person when we start to kind of open our doors back up. But you can also do it the new fashioned way and doing it online through our website at www.m4a.org/referral. You'll see a little box that says make a referral or get help. So obviously, if you're calling on behalf of someone else, you can click the make the referral button, or you can do it for yourself. If you're calling on behalf of yourself, you can click the get help button. But it'll kind of walk you through the steps, the information that we would need to make that referral. You click that, it goes through our queue, and we will contact you back to kind of get the ball rolling to see what types of services we might be able to potentially help with. Here are some of our core programs that we offer across the state. These will be kind of offered in each of the area agencies on aging from top to bottom. Those include, or not limited to, nutrition services, caregiver support, prescription drug assistance. We do insurance counseling during open enrollment and really all throughout the year. I mentioned the senior employment program, which is for individuals 55 and older who are kind of looking to get back into the workforce. We partner with nonprofits to offer that service cost-free for those who we partner with. We also provide legal assistance with an elder law attorney who can help with powers of attorney, advanced directives, things of that nature, as well as elder abuse prevention. Actually, next month, we're going to be talking a lot about that because June is Elder Abuse Prevention Awareness Month. And we also have some long-term care program services, like specifically with our Medicaid waiver program that brings services into the home to kind of help delay long-term care placement. Then, of course, if you find yourself in that situation where you're in need of guidance or you have some issues that you'd like to be looked into, we also have a long-term care ombudsman representative who can kind of do that. They serve as kind of the middle person between the facility itself and the resident who is living within that facility. Here are some of the programs that are unique to M4A. We have the PANDA Project, which is one of the co-sponsors for this program. That's an award grant that we've received through the Administration for Community Living that helps specifically with caregivers and those individuals who are living with a dementia-related diagnosis, as well as special needs who are at high risk of a dementia-related diagnosis, specifically in the Shelby County region. We also have a Dementia-Friendly Alabama initiative where we train first responders and those living within the community who interact with individuals who have a dementia-related diagnosis. We kind of help educate and empower them with the tools to kind of, when they encounter those situations, to kind of help hopefully have a more positive output there compared to what it could typically be. We also do many other programs, like you see there, Living Well Alabama, which is just a wellness program. It's another grant-funded program to kind of help promote living well for Alabamians. We also have a critical needs fund that really got kicked off during the pandemic to kind of help some of those more serious situations. If something comes about, we take donations and try to match those individuals with funding and different resources to kind of help bring a resolution to their situation. We also have an AIM Community Service Project program where we link volunteers and donations to individuals within the community who find themselves in need of low-cost home modification, things like wheelchair ramps, grab bars, that sort of thing. So you can also follow us on social media. We try to keep things fresh and up to date. We try to put our events and things like our coffee breaks. We try to put our recordings online on our Facebook page, especially. We're also a little bit on Twitter and Instagram, and we try to put as many of our videos on YouTube as possible. When you visit our website, you should be prompted with a little box that asks if you want to join our newsletter. We do encourage those that are living, especially within our community, to join the newsletter because we do that weekly through email, and we put different resources and events and things that we see might be pertinent to those living within our communities. This is our contact information. We are in Alabaster as well. We're just down from the senior center. We're more in we're over in the Saginaw area, which is between Alabaster and Calera on Highway 31. And you can reach us there, or you can contact us, like I said, toll free, or through our local number you see there on the screen in the middle, or visit us online. Now, we don't have secure speakers yet for next coffee break, but that is scheduled for June the 30th. That will also be from 1 to 2 p.m. the last Wednesday of every month, like we've been doing. It will be covering elder abuse prevention. We have a couple of speakers in mind who we think are going to be presenting for us, but we'll have a little bit more information on that pretty soon. And we will be putting that flyer and that information out on our social media accounts, as well as our newsletter. And as always, if you have any suggestions for our coffee break series, make sure to send those to panda@m4a.org. And we will make sure that we try to reach out to someone who maybe can kind of fit that topic discussion for us. So I want to thank Miss Stacy again. I think she's still on the phone. And Adam, if you're still on, I want to thank you guys both for joining us. This has been a great presentation. We're always happy to have those living within our own backyard and our own community to kind of help come on and talk about the great things that are happening, not only in Shelby County, but across our region. So thanks again. We really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your busy schedules to come on and kind of help shed some good news in this ever-changing crazy world. So, but I will say, Miss Stacy, it's great to hear that the senior centers are kind of leaning to open it up, because we know how important those can be. So, well, we thank everyone for joining us. And if you want to go ahead and mark your calendars, again, that's going to be June the 30th from 1 to 2. And we'll have that on our social media accounts to go ahead and kind of get RSVP'd for that through Zoom. And we hope that everyone has a safe and happy Memorial Day weekend, and have a great weekend. Like I said, stay safe, and we will catch you guys in June in some warmer weather, I'm sure.